Hi, this is Carlos Andrino. Welcome to a lesson about playing your handpan. Now that we have stretched and warmed up, we are ready to play our handpan. First of all, it is good to know that almost all people begin with a handpan that will usually have 8 to 10 notes, including the ding. This nomenclature is sometimes stated as an 8-note handpan, 9 notes handpan, 10 notes handpan, or as a 7 plus 1, 8 plus 1, or 9 plus 1 handpan, where the first number refers to the notes around the ding, and the plus 1 refers to the ding, and that depends on the handpan maker. The ding is usually kind of not considered in the scale, but still, it is a note which usually helps to achieve rhythm and the lowest note to play in the handpan. We are going to play first on the ding or center note, which is usually the note that stands in the center of the top shell of your handpan. This is the only note that will be played at its center and which will give us a full, rich, and deep sound. There are many ways to play the notes, but we'll start playing one of the best ways to achieve a great sound from your instrument. Our fingers have 3 sections, and we'll use the top one and nearest to our tip to start looking for a full and rich sound in the center note. It is totally normal that you are getting kind of a staccato or muffled sound. And that is because you might be leaving your finger kind of stuck to the metal, which mutes the sound. So we can get a better sound by thinking that our handpan is really hot and we just want to slap it and test how hot it is. In that way, we are going to play our instrument rapidly and carefully. Instead of playing like this, with a stiff finger, we are just gonna try to imagine that it is hot, and we're just gently touching it with your finger relaxed. Now we can achieve a bit more metallic sound around the ding, which is called the shoulder. Hear how I travel through the shoulder, although we're on a specific note, and there is a slight variation which can help us get more and more sounds. Here, how I move to this place, it varies a little. Now back to the center. Remember to slap our instrument as if it was hot, and try not to leave it that way, like sticking over your handpan. Gentle touch, and different sounds. Depending if we are right or left-handed, we'll usually have a stronger hand, yet the other one will achieve more strength and agility with practice. This is the reason we are going to start alternating hands to strengthen both of them. Just like that. Now let's go to the outer belt of notes in the top shell of our handpan. In this case, we won't be striking the center of the note, or dimple, but the space between the shoulder and the dimple to achieve a full and rich sound. You can also move around this space and get more sounds because every note is tuned, considering a root note, together with its fifth and its 8 for harmonics. Can you hear the difference? Remember to slap the instrument as if it was hot, so you don't get a muffled sound like this. Your fingers should be relaxed. Remember to avoid playing with stiff fingers nor tension. There are 3 fingers that we mainly use to play our handpan, and those are the thumb, index, and middle fingers. Still, all of our fingers should be trained to achieve the best sound we can. Each one of us is different, and therefore, some fingers might be more comfortable than others to you. There is really no wrong way to play your instrument, because everyone can achieve an amazing sound with many different techniques. Just remember the principle: keep it comfortable and get rid of any tension. Still, in this lesson, we want to use the top bending and closest to the tip of our fingers, and the side part of the bending, which is closest to our thumbs, and therefore we can achieve a rich sound You might have noticed that there are numbers on top of every single note, and they are placed after the lowest note, which is the ding. In this case, the lowest note after the ding, which is usually the biggest circle after the ding, and the next one in the scale, should always be placed closest to you, and which starts as number 1 being the lowest note. The higher the number, the higher pitched the note will be, such as this one. Let's compare it. And the lowest. As you know by now, our handpan scale kind of starts outside the ding, with numbers that usually go from 1 to 8 or 9 on a zigzag kind of way, since handpans have frequently been taught to be played alternating hands. Personally, I generally use my thumbs for the ding and the first 2 to 4 notes, or my index. And then my index usually goes from the 5 to the 8 or 9 note, and my middle finger goes in the 7, 8 or 9 or 4 chords, just like this. So let's see how it sounds. And this is the zigzag way. You can see that, right? And it's not a general rule, but you should get like the more comfortable way to you, and that is the way that will be right. If it's comfortable and there's no tension, that would be the best way to play for you. And as I mentioned, I will explain chords in another lesson. The handpan is a big instrument, and it is bigger to some people than others. The important thing is to explore it, and remember to adapt to your instrument's angle with the help of your back, hands, and fingers, and keep playing with the fingers that you find to be more comfortable. That way, we are not using the force of our fingers or our wrist. It's all of the process of our back, our arm, our hand, our shoulder, and avoiding any tension in all of that process. I hope you have a better idea about playing the notes in your instrument. Later on, we'll get to know how to get more percussive sounds, textures, and special sounds. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next lesson.